ESPN NBA front office insider with over 20 years of NBA front office experience. You can find him on the worldwide leader ESPN, friend of the DLLS Mavs podcast. He is Bobby Marks. Bobby, what's going on?
How we doing, guys?
Doing well, doing
Good.
well. Thank you so much for taking the time with us once again on our show today. Let's just start here. The Mavericks are a mess. And a little bit of a mess right now with their financial situation, draft capital as well. 30,000-foot view. Let's start here. Bobby Marks gets thrown into the Mavericks front office. What is he doing day one and over the next few months to try to start to help clean up what's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you guys know, the goal is to get Anthony back on the court. I think that's the priority. I don't know how much pull I have that, or Matt Riccardi or Michael Finley. I think that's probably going to be up to the medical department and certainly ownership as far as signing off on that. But I think that's the first goal here. I think there's going to be a point in the season where you're probably going to have to pick a direction as far as where you're going here. I think if this continues to go this direction, then you are likely positioning yourself to try to have the best possible draft pick in June. That's the reality. Or when we get to May with the lottery, just based on what the future holds, where you don't have control of your first round pick until 2031. So here's your last big crack at it again, to add somebody around Cooper. It's a little bit of a challenge as you have Anthony on your books and Kyrie still hurt, and you're waiting for him to come back here. So I think with Nico not there anymore, things have changed drastically. I think you are, we heard the 3 to 4 year timeline or 2 to 3 year timeline. Now I think it's more about building out for the future. I think it's probably building around Cooper and putting the right pieces around him. I think there are some pieces on this roster. I heard you guys talking about Max earlier, and that's a decision they'll have next summer. I was looking at his extension number. It's 4 for 93 is the most they can offer him. So it's roughly a $23 to $24 million average here. But I think there are good things on this roster already. But I do think getting Anthony on the court, whether it's something you want to do down the road and you're looking to move him. We wrote a piece yesterday and we kind of started to do a little bit of research around the league, what his value is. His value is not high right now. That's the reality of when you play only 15 games and you're owed a bunch of money down the road and you're extension eligible coming up this summer. I don't see you getting back. Well, you'll never get back what you gave up for him, but I don't see the high value in Anthony Davis right now until he gets on the court. But I think, as I said, I think it's all about putting the right pieces around Cooper moving forward.
They kind of face this problem though, Bobby, because Mark Stein, who isn't here today, unfortunately, again, he's ducked you twice.
I know, every time I come on, Stein, I'm getting a complexion here,
He's just hiding. But, Mark has laid out that basically in order for the Mavs to get what they deem to be fair or equal value for AD, he's not only got to get back on the court, but he's got to stay healthy for a prolonged period of time, which is really risky for any player. Everyone is getting hurt right now, even guys that have played a lot of games. But the deeper problem than that is, let's say AD gets healthy and then plays 25 straight games. Well, the Mavs might accidentally win a lot of those games, thereby hurting the tank effort. So they're in this there's like this gridlock problem right now. So if you were GM, or could you try and explain to fans why that might be actually the best course of action, even if it results in a few extra wins, as opposed to trading him now from a position of very kind of non-existent leverage?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of how does he fit in long term, right? If you figure he doesn't fit long term as far as what you're trying to do, the only way that you're going to move off for him is going to be getting him on the court. And if that's getting a couple more wins, I think that's probably the risk that you're going to take. I think it will be interesting when he gets back. Where's Dallas in the standings? I think we're certainly seeing separation. I don't think you'll ever get to where Brooklyn is in Indiana and the Wizards, teams that have 1 and 2 wins here. But as you know, with the lottery, anything can happen if you're in that I don't know, 6 to 10 range here with that. But yeah, I do think it is, as I said, a priority to get Anthony on the court because teams want to see him healthy. There's basically kind of three different timelines with Anthony. What we saw hit with him in Los Angeles, which was certainly good. He played the most games in 23-24, and he was earned All NBA and defensive all defense. And then we saw him with the trade as far as the limited body of work, and then what kind of the future is going to hold. If a team is willing to give up something of significance, they want to know that their a player can sustain, him being on the court. And I think you hit it right on the head. Like the league is at an interesting part right now because the pace is so fast, right? We see a lot of groins and calf strains and hamstrings and stuff like that, and I think that's probably why they're being extra cautious. Is the last thing you want to do is putting him out there, and all of a sudden he's set back for another couple weeks. But at the end of the day, might be if you're positioning yourself for draft position, that might be, I guess, a blessing there. And then that parlays into what happens with Kyrie, right? Like Kyrie's timeline as far as when he comes back from the injury. So a lot of questions that this co-interim GM front office is going to have to figure out right now, and certainly ownership is going to have to figure out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, hey Bobby, I appreciate you for joining the show again. I'm very interested in Klay Thompson. He's shooting kind of career lows across the board at this point. He's now on the bench for the Mavericks. Now he has had a couple of good games as of late off of the bench, but he's on a decent size contract with someone of his stature at this point. What can the Mavs do about somebody like Klay Thompson?
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of keep a journal of notes before the season starts on just things to watch. And the one thing I had for Clay, it was has Father Time caught up with him? Just because you started to see some trends in Golden State, and I think you saw some trends last year. And of course, he has not gone off to a great start, although he's played a little bit better the last couple of games here. It's a big number. I mean, I know it's not max number, but it's still a $16-17 million player. It's a guaranteed contract next year. As I say, any player in this league is tradable. You're not going to get a first round pick for him. I think it's a matter of what the need is. Is there a playoff team that could use Klay Thompson in the playoffs and still provide value? I think that's probably what you're more targeting here. I think it's almost like, hey, can you break up that contract? And I mean, listen, we know they need a point guard and they need another creator on this roster to make the offense flow a little bit better here. And I think that's hard to get with Klay's number. But I do think if this team is out of it come January and early February, then that's going to be the guy that you're going to try to parlay into something, even if you break that contract up into a couple guys.
When you look at the overall financial situation with the Mavericks, as a team that's running up against the second apron, what does the next year or two start to look like for them as they project out with Cooper Flagg being here, potentially building around him, about how they can start to work around the margins to get themselves into a more decent financial situation here?
It's not good. I mean, it's not good at all. It's probably the most dire that it's been ever in franchise history. We in the article that we have on ESPN.com on Monday, we took a look. We look at next year, what the offseason is going to look at. Listen, Dallas finishes in a luxury tax this year. They're going to be a repeater tax next year. I mean, 4 to 5 years, you pay a significant penalty. The tax, it doesn't have as much of a bite as you guys know about, the apron rules. The second apron has got a lot of bite to it. You're looking at being in the apron. You're looking at potentially paying, I think we figured out the number. It was like $370 in salary and luxury tax for next year's roster. When you look at it, because sure, yeah, I mean it's going to be it would be the biggest tax penalty in franchise history. I think it's 150 million, $160 million. You look at PJ's extension starting to kick in. Certainly with Anthony's and Kyrie's, and you got a bunch of guys making $13-14 million, and the numbers begin to add in. And then when you factor in your draft pick, which is probably around $10-12 million, that's where you're looking at it. So you're looking at being a second apron team, being in a luxury tax again. You'd basically have the veteran minimum exception, which isn't the end of the world because you've got 12 guys under contract, so it's not like you got to go out and sign 5 or 6 guys there. But yeah, finances are not great when you're looking at it for Dallas next summer.
I do want to just jump in and say I'm relieved to hear that the max number is actually 493. I was worried that it was going to be like 70 or 75.
It's 140% off the average player salary. So
it's 140% now.
Yeah, it changed in the
what a
23
relief. Okay.
CBA. So listen, the rules are better. Are the rules perfect? No. I mean, I would love, and I think the Lakers would probably love this too, that you can offer the player an extension based on his years of service in the league. So if you're Max Christie, the first year of his extension could be up to 25% of the salary cap. If you're Austin Reeves in Los Angeles, it can be up to 25%. It's not capped at a certain number if you've established bird rights. I think that would give, so you're not, hey, let's cross our fingers and hopefully he takes it, like a good deal, or we get into free agency and, like Austin Reeves in Los Angeles can say this past summer, hey, yeah, I want to be a Laker. But when your value skyrockets and some rebuilding team comes in and offers, I don't know, 4 years, $180 million, and you're like, wait a minute, that's making $40 million. So I do think that I'd love to tweak the extension rules here, but yeah, it is a little bit higher. It's right around 93 million. First year is at 20, almost 21, and the last year is right around 26.
That is way better than like starting at 14 and a half or something.
Yeah, no, it's definitely better.
See, I don't bring all doom and gloom to this show.
Yeah.
Okay, we appreciate that.
There we
We
go.
appreciate that. I'll let you go on this. We talked about restaurant reviews the last time you were with us. Where would you characterize the restaurant renovation for the Mavericks at this point?
That's a good question. I would say they have a terrific chef in Cooper, although I saw some people think he would be the 6th best prospect in this year's draft, and I chuckled on that. I don't know where the hell that came from. I'm like,
we don't either.
The last 2 weeks. I have a terrific chef in Cooper, and the support staff and the rest of the staff is either on strike or injured, or everything else is not. There's nothing else that's there with it. But I listen. I put it up. I think after they beat Portland, they're 3-8 in clutch games. You guys know this. I mean, like the ability to finish. And I think a lot of it just becomes like they just need somebody out there to organize the offense a little bit. We see a lot of one-on-one and ISO down the stretch at some of these games here. I think last night was a throwaway game because it's a back-to-back and you're going to Minnesota and some guys didn't play here. But it's a work in progress. I had higher hopes on this team coming into this year because I believed even with Kyrie out, their depth, I like their depth. I bought into their depth here. I thought they had enough sustainable, but a lot of that had to do with AD staying on the court, and unfortunately, he hasn't been able to do that.
Bobby, this was terrific stuff. We appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. We'll make sure Stein's on the next time
for sure
you get on this show, because we told us, like, look, Bobby's coming on. It's like, I won't be able to. So we'll make sure Stein's on.
It's like that when at ESPN, I used to, I still do Get Up, but I would always go and Get Up, and Mike Greenberg would always be on vacation, and I'd be like, does this guy ever come on when I'm like, like that? So,
but no, Mark actually does not work here.
I saw Steiny in LA 2 weeks ago. He was out there when San Antonio was out there and everything like that. So I know he still likes me and everything.
Okay, good. Glad to know. Bobby, appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Talk to you. See ya.